Hello and welcome to the Web3 Talks. My name is Ornella Hernandez.
And I'm Besse.
And today's guest is Firdosh Sheikh, who is the founder of the ride-hailing app called Drife, popular in India and now coming to the United Arab Emirates. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us. So I wanted to ask about Drife, what it is. I understand it's like Uber, it's like Lyft, like Careem, but there's a Web3 element to it. So would love to hear more about it.
So Drife, as you said, it's similar to Uber, Careem, Lyft, and any other ride-hailing company that exists. How we are different is our ability to connect driver and rider directly with each other without the existence of a middleman, which means we don't manipulate the prices or exploit the users when their value creator is connected with each other. The idea is very simple, that we want to make sure when there's a driver and rider who share value among themselves, why don't they share reward also among themselves? We want to make sure that driver get to earn 100% of the fare that they deserve to earn. There's a high commission that exists in the ride-hailing ecosystem. Driver end up paying as high as 40-45% of the earning as commission, which is too much for any one of us to hear, but that's their reality. And that's what we want to change, where we want to give back to the community the value that they deserve to earn.
So what are the current challenges or issues with price manipulation? I didn't realize that was a big issue.
It's very simple, okay? When someone has a profit motive involved in the fare that you're paying, what will stop them from first manipulating the price, then to exploit the price for their profit motive, because they get money out of it. So the fare that you and I pay today, if you ever go and open an invoice, you realize there are different parameters that's been added, internet handlers charges, booking charges, different search price is a very basic example. If you tomorrow call a ride-hailing company and say why I was being charged 2x of the price, nobody will give you an answer. You can never go and check why you've been charged, how much you paid for what. And that's how they have the ability to charge differently from different users. And a lot of companies even acknowledged it publicly that yes, they use your purchasing capacity to understand how much you can pay and then determine different fare for different users. And that's what we want to change, bring transparency and fairness in this industry, which is a far-sighted dream for this industry. Can we actually bring that where you pay for what you get out of it? The distance and the time that you travel, you should be paying for that, and driver should get all of it because he's driving you. Why is there a platform who's charging high commission of just because they're connecting a driver and a rider?
So how does blockchain technology solve for this?
Exactly. So that's where blockchain comes, we use smart contracts to do fare calculation and driver allocation. So there's no human intervention. So smart contract determine based on the distance and the time that you give for the pickup and drop location. Based on that, smart contract tells you what should be the minimum fare you'll be paying for the ride, and then it sends the request to multiple drivers. So what we are also doing is decentralizing your experience, not just putting things because a lot of time people say put Uber on blockchain and it will solve the problem. It won't, because there is a fundamental flaw in the business model that you need to solve for. Today what you decide is where are you going, that's it. Everything else has been decided by the ride-hailing company. With Drive, you can decide more than where you're going. You can decide how much you're paying. You can decide which driver you want to travel with. And your preference can be anything, how much a driver is charging, how far is he, or what's his rating. I prefer a 5-star rated driver if I'm traveling at night, or I'll wait for 10 minutes, a better car if I'm not in hurry. Those are your personal preference that's never taken into consideration, and that's where we are decentralizing the whole matchmaking process also with Drive.
Sure. And because I always have to pick a little bit and play the devil's advocate, we were talking about commissions a little bit, and sometimes they're as high as 45%, right? By the company that they're working for.
Correct.
A lot of these cab drivers here, especially in the UAE, they're working for whoever owns the car that they're driving, right?
True.
So how does this solve for that company that owns the car not also charging 45% commission?
See, if you look at the hierarchy that exists in UN, specifically this kind of model you see in UAE, where there's a limousine company and then there are drivers that are working with limousine company. And it's a chain, okay? So limousine company gets paid all the money for all the drivers, and then they move that money to the driver. At the end of the day, driver get to earn part of what limousine company gets. So if limousine companies start getting 25-30% higher than what they were getting, it will translate to the driver who's at the lowest level also. So he'll also be able to have access to more income. And that's what the question everybody asked me is like, UAE is very different from any other country. Like, yes, in other countries, there's so much frictions that drivers say we don't get to earn what we deserve to earn, and drivers go on strike across the globe. 74% of the driver across the globe go on strike every year, asking for a very basic thing.
Wow.
Is a fair pay. We don't see this in Dubai. We all know why. It's a control place, nobody would want to do that. But the problem exists. If you go and talk to a driver tomorrow, you book a Careem or Uber, they will tell you about commission, but they don't have an alternative. Like, do I have an alternative that someone will not charge me commission? There's no company that existed till now that will give them access to the income that they deserve.
Amazing. And so we've seen some of these other ride-hailing apps in the UAE move from just a car delivery to also now food and grocery and pharmacy delivery.
And everything else.
Everything.
Yeah. Is this something that even delivery drivers and motorcycle riders can also take advantage of?
I'll tell you, the problem that we're trying to solve is not just ride-hailing problem. It's a problem with everything that moves. There's a centralization in place. There are value creators like delivery partner, driver partners who get exploited at the end, who don't get what they deserve to earn. And we're starting with ride-hailing, where we're giving this as an example that this is a possibility that driver can earn what they deserve by being part of this model. Slowly and gradually we want to move to different streams. The idea is we want to decentralize everything that moves, and we start with ride hailing.
Okay. And you seem to have a soft spot for the driver specifically.
Yes.
And we had discussed off camera that you're a super rider. Is that the term, super rider?
Well, of Uber, right?
Yeah, I'm like a super user of Uber in India.
And now Drife.
Careem in Dubai, and very soon in Dubai I'll be of Drife.
So how did you see that the drivers are the ones that needed a solution that you were able to provide?
See, I started using Uber when I was 16-year-old. I moved to Delhi in India and I started using Uber. That was the only way I was commuting. I'm very afraid of public transport. I don't know how to drive. So that's the only way I commute.
Not even taxis?
No. I don't know. I have something, I just I'm scared. And that was the time Uber was launched in India. And that's the only way I commuted all my life ever since I was 16. So I knew problem that I was facing as a rider. But for me, it was about convenience, getting a cab at my doorstep. What else I wanted? It was this one ride I still remember. It was an airport ride back in Bangalore in India. It was a midnight trip. I got into the cab and this driver tells me, can you cancel the trip? I'll take you to the airport, pay me $100 less than what you're paying. And that made me ask this question, why? Why do you want me to pay less than what I'm paying to the ride-hailing company? And he told me he was paying 45% as commission for that ride. Right. For me, it was not making sense at all. Why would someone charge so much from a driver? Because it was 2-hour ride. And this driver will end up making very little for himself. And why is he awake at night, midnight, driving me? And then I started speaking with every other driver and everyone was telling me the same story. Because what we knew about ride-hailing experience of, everybody's doing good, you can get a cab at your doorstep. The story is not same anymore.
So it's that the problem is that not enough money goes directly to the drivers. Exactly,
because I come from India where most of the people are into the taxi business. Their livelihood depend on that. A lot of drivers who work here, their whole family back in India, Pakistan depends on what they're earning here. And if in this whole era of technological disruption we call, if all the ride-hailing companies are today multi-billion-dollar companies, but the driver who made the multi-billion-dollar company are still struggling to make their livelihood, there's something that went wrong. And that's what I realized, that this needs to be solved for people whose livelihood depend upon this profession.
And where did the passion for blockchain and Web3 come from?
So when I started exploring this as a problem statement, I came across Bitcoin as a concept, and I was working with a hedge fund back then. And that's when I was part of a research team to look at blockchain implementation for hedge fund. That's when I started reading about Bitcoin as a concept, and I started resonating with the problem that I was seeing with why Bitcoin was built. It was built to curb centralization and give access to people of their own money. Why I can't control the money that I am earning, why someone else has all the control and have to take care of, the financial institution who needs to know everything and anything what I'm doing with my money. And I started resonating with that. And if you read a lot of books that has been wrote about Bitcoin or blockchain, after Bitcoin as a Web3 use case, the second use case that's always been spoken about is imagine Uber on blockchain. That, instead of, taking out the cars out of job, take out the middleman out of job and connect drivers and riders directly. That's the best use case that's always been spoken about.
Right.
Never saw a daylight. So that's when I thought like, okay, maybe this can solve the problem that I'm looking to solve here.
Okay, but it's not necessarily putting Uber on blockchain.
See,
it's just utilizing the tech behind it.
Will you use an application just because you have been told like, okay, because we are on blockchain, you should use this? Nobody will use that.
Right.
Just put Uber on blockchain. You will build the slowest application in the earth. You don't want to do that. I wanted to solve for a real problem. And then I started looking at what blockchain can solve for me. What is that missing piece that I want to build was transparency and fairness in the fairs. That's what we do using smart contracts.
So then, do you remember what year that was when you first heard about Bitcoin?
I heard about Bitcoin back in 2015 actually, because I come from finance. Okay, I'm not a technological, but I come from core of finance. I've worked with Microsoft and then with a hedge fund. So I was aware of this as a financial instrument. I still remember when I was in the hedge fund back in 2016-17, we were having this discussion about can we invest in Bitcoin, not invest in Bitcoin. I was the person I still remember said this. There's no underlying to Bitcoin because for stocks there's an underlying to Bitcoin. There's a business.
Like nothing backing it.
There's nothing backing it. We don't know what's going to happen. And
you were skeptical then.
I was skeptical. Anybody from finance was there at that point back in 2017 that no. But I guess from there, I started my own journey of learning Bitcoin, knowing about it, trading. So I was like an active trader also. So I did all of that, but never thought that I'll build something out of it.
So what do you think about this industry? Like, do you go to lots of events? Do you spend a lot of time on X, on Twitter? Like, what are your views on the
if you look
culture?
at Web3 industry, I guess there are two aspects of Web3 industry. One is just the crypto aspect of who we are, where everybody thinks if there's no crypto angle to you, who you are, you are not Web3. Like a lot of people ask me, can I pay in crypto? It's like, not yet. It's like, how can you be Web3? So there's like a crypto industry, which is very small, like 2 million people, and everything that has been built for this 2 million people who trade crypto, use crypto for different aspects. That's very small.
Yeah.
Now it's only very recent where we started speaking about real world implementation of blockchain as a technology. Deepen is a sector that is booming now, where we're speaking about build things that can solve for real problems. And that's a very different industry where people are building for real use
that's
cases.
for physical infrastructure.
Exactly, physical infrastructure. Drife is one such use case. So I go very rarely to events, like unless and until it like brings value, or a place where I've been called because we are exploring that city to launch Drife. Otherwise, like very crypto-ish event, I try not to go because I sometimes feel I don't belong there, because yes, we will allow people to pay in crypto when which jurisdiction allows me to do that, but that's not my value proposition. Is just because you can pay in crypto, what does it I'm solving for? I'm not solving for anything for the industry that I'm working for. So I go to places where I feel that there's need, and I can connect to more people to see if we can go to those cities to launch, right? So that's always what my parameters are to choose like where I go and speak.
And I know that you and I got connected because you're coming to Future Blockchain Summit this year to talk about it. And as you mentioned, you don't like too many events.
Yeah, true.
And that's one of the things that we try to explain to our audience as well, is that we're not a crypto event. We're a B2B tech event, and we focus on the technology behind blockchain and behind Web3 and the applications of it as well. So tell us a little bit about, why did you choose Future Blockchain Summit to come and speak at?
So I guess my whole journey of even like moving to Dubai started with me being invited to GITEX back in 2020. I was like first invited in 2020 to speak at a mobility panel. That was my first time I came to Dubai also. And after that, I was invited next year also to like speak mostly on the mobility panel, not on the Future Blockchain Summit. I guess this is the first time I'll speak on the Future Blockchain Summit. Before this, I've spoken at mobility community panel, where I always felt that, that's what you're saying about the differentiation between a lot of events are crypto events, okay, where people go talk only crypto and that's it.
Yeah.
Which I don't resonate a lot, and for future blockchain summit, because I've been connected with the whole concept of GITEX for 3 years now, and my first time in Dubai was also because of GITEX. So I connect myself with how I see this city, and I could see that potential that I want to be in Dubai, and it all happened because of you guys. So I could not say no.
Would you say that you're more of a mobility leader or a Web3 leader?
I'll say I am in the middle of both, like combination of both, because I guess Drife is a very perfect example of combination of Web3 and real world use case of mobility, where we are trying to solve a mobility problem using Web3, and we want to be the example for others to build real world use cases like application that you won't delete from your phone. We want to build those kind of application to bring that adoption that we all want for Web3s, like billion users we all speak about, but how do we get that? Is through real world application that are part of your daily life.
So what's next for Drife? What can we expect in the near future, and about its launch in the UAE?
Yeah, so we're very excited about our launch in UAE, and I'm sure by the time GITEX is live, will be all operational in Dubai, and people will be able to use Drive when they're in Dubai and experience Drive in Dubai. But we're working on more cities, both in India and outside India. We have an international launch after Dubai, also planned for London. So we are in process of acquiring our license in London as well. So yeah, I guess there's so much happening. All efforts are into expansion to go to more and more cities and have a presence and solve for the problem.
Okay, that's exciting. And any advice that you have for other entrepreneurs out there that you'd like to share?
In general, I think Web3 as a space is still very new. There's so much to learn and so much to actually accomplish because it's very new. One thing that I've found is people are very helpful. They try to help you with anything that they can. So there's so much that you can build if you want to build, and it's not necessary that you have to just do a crypto project. The potential is huge in the Web3 space of what you can build and achieve. So don't just go behind, okay, I just have to do crypto. You can use crypto to achieve so much. So just try to find your niche. Every time in this industry, everybody get consumed by the hype of, there's every 6 months there is a hype.
Yeah,
so don't get consumed by the hype, because hype's going to stay only for 6 months, and then there will be another hype, and then you will be irrelevant. So if you want to be relevant, you want to build something, look for your niche.
Right. Okay, so think long term and find where there's actually a need.
Yes, true.
Good advice. All right, well, thank you so much for your time today, Firdosh. I can't wait to start using Drife.
Thank you for having me.
Great.
And that's it for the Web3 Talks today. Thank you for watching this episode. Make sure to check out other episodes and check out Drife while you're at it. See you guys later.